Alright guys, welcome. So in this video we're going to tell about the Feverless strategy. Remember the Brazilian soccer and back to the United Kingdom special missions? Then it all started with these Feverless special missions. Well, the milestone rewards has been changed so much that the amount of fevers now are very limited. So we're going to talk about here how you can save tokens and that's when to use the fever. So let's talk about it. Alright, the first strategy here is save the fevers for later use. Right now the fevers are earned from the special mission pods in the market and from the milestones. However, the chances to get the fever it's pretty much 50-50, so it's not guaranteed. If you are very unlucky, this will be pretty much unfortunate because it will forces you to do longer runs and then focus on down building your items as you run. So the best part is use the fever on the third stage, on the third milestone, until you notice that big gap. At this point it's best to use the fever. Alright, the second strategy here is focus on one rune challenges. Every single milestone has its own one rune challenge, and at the beginning it's best to do it as well as in stage 2 and in the third stage as well. They do provide items, but however, when you are doing the one rune challenge, it will probably give you a boost as you do. The only downside is you just need to be careful when you're doing longer runs. Sometimes you have to do long runs, especially for hard one rune challenges. Alright, the third one is double items when needed. This is only when you want to pretty much do longer runs, or if the milestone from the challenge has a lot of items, then that is a good option to double your items as you run. Let's say you're using witch and you collect more than 30 items, then that's a good idea to double your items, because you don't want to double your items when you have collected just not as much. It's probably a waste if you are let's say you collected like 20 and you crash and you wanna double. Nah, it's not as great. It might be useful on the early stage, in stage 1, but remember, they aren't worth as much. So it's best to do that when you have at least 30 items collected. So then you should consider doubling. But remember, the ads are very limited on this one. I believe you can only double 10 times per day. If you run out while progressing, then you just stop by and then continue on tomorrow. This thing is very useful on the later stages as well, because in stage 3 you get a lot more items and in one challenge, and this is very useful. I mean, it's best probably to use this one, I think, on stage 1 from milestone 4, because on the first 3 milestones it's probably very easy to progress. Then it's probably the best time to use the double ad when you have to double the items. Alright, the fourth thing, keep the charge power-up costume prepared at all times. Well, in this strategy, if you're doing very long runs as you finish the fever especially, or feverless, be very careful when you are doing very long runs. As you slowly if you notice, then you will go faster and faster. This is why you should have a power-up charged ability prepared, because if you're struggling to survive, then it's best to have it prepared and use it when you are in danger. Also, that speed that you have, if you are very fast, then you have to do accurately. You have to do jumps and slides accurately, because if you do not, you just pretty much crash. And this is why you should have that power up necessarily prepared. So I recommend on this one. Remember, not all characters can have that. Remember, just the thing is, if you're Grenadier, then good luck with that, because his ability is Banana Splitter and he doesn't help with that. And the other thing that you can do besides using Grenadier, the witch can save you because she has a fluffy unicorn. Then it's gonna be the Mega Minion, Moon. They do provide an item when you're playing around because it's a mini game. And let's not forget that I know there's these two power-ups like the Evil Minion, the Minion Shield, and the Freeze Ray. They're also available, but the thing is the Evil Minion slows you down, which will give you a little bit more break time until you will pretty much go suddenly very fast and you sometimes not prepared for it. And alright, the Freeze Ray is also valuable. That's because it pretty much keep you you are unstoppable because you cannot be crashed by any obstacles because you keep freezing and then you crash obstacles, you break in. And the Minion Shield, which is the least powerful, unless if you use Ninja, I mean it will save you from one obstacle, but keep that in mind. There are some situations that you should avoid the item if you don't have a Minion Shield or Freeze Ray. There are some situations like there's an item very close to an obstacle. The thing is, do not risk yourself to get that item while you have that speed because it's not worth it. Sometimes life is better than just the item, so don't risk it. Only unless if you have the Evil Minion, the Evil Minion, the Minion Shield, and the Freeze Ray, then you can just do that. Just be careful when you do longer runs. And the fifth one, which use costumes that boost the items while running, this is especially for the Witch, the Guru Rocket, Mega Minion, and Moon only. The Witch in this part, if you are very limited on fevers, the Witch really can help you boost your items because it gives you as a chance to double the items. And if you're trying to be very close to finish a level with 2 items or 1, then be very careful when using Witch because the Witch you need to be cautious on the items. So if you collected, for example, 2 suddenly and then you have like 3 items left, if you pick that one and you have 2 items left and then after that it just counts at 2, then you need to stop because if you do so, you'll miss the chance to double your items. And it's a warning with the Witch. If you have different costume, then stop when you have 1 item. So you need to be careful when you stop. You better stop when you have at least 2 or 1 items, but 2 items when you are with the Witch. That's the maximum. Because if you do not watch out, if you're not paying attention to that, then you pretty much lose the chance to double your items. Alright, so the third milestone in stage 3 is the best way to use the fever, and then you can use Grenade. This depends on the character. You may probably have or not the Witch, but in case if you do not have Witch, I can tell that you can use those power-ups, the characters that I mentioned earlier, you know, like the Fluffy Unicorn and so on. But you know, the thing is, you need to practice the longer runs because I believe when you have that speed, you not only are very fast, but you collect more items that way. But the downside here is that it requires you to act fast because if you're not quick enough, you can pretty much get finished by obstacles because that speed it's really difficult to be able to resist it. Alright, so this is pretty much the strategy to keep the fever for later use and then save some tokens that way. This is also for beginners too, so if you lack in some costumes, then it's best to use a character that has that specific minigame power-up, or have a Freeze Ray or Minion Shield when needed, or even Minion, because they are handy sometimes. So this is it all about the strategy video that I mentioned earlier. Good luck with that, and I hope it makes it useful for the rest of them. I know this will be pretty much the hardest part of Minion Rush with the special missions, because this is just the beginning, and a lot of people are really sad about it, because this change really has affected the special mission quite a lot. Because special missions earlier, you have enough fevers to be able to progress, but this time you are very limited, which means if you don't get the required fevers, I think like 15 fevers or more than that would just be enough. But it just depends on the costume that you have, like the grenadier or something, because in my case I have a grenadier maxed out, and if you perform so good in while you're doing very long runs, then eventually you probably need not that much fevers. But remember, this is the only way to save tokens without having to use essential spike kit when necessary, because this is the only way to save tokens and fevers. And I wish you good luck with that, guys. So thank you very much for watching, and stay in touch with that incoming special missions. It's a rough time for Minion Rush, but it is what it is. I wish you good luck.